on all our networks. I am coming to you live from my studio here. Things may sound a little different if you listen to my show asynchronously today, mostly because I'm having some studio technical difficulties, which is very on par with where things are in America. We just feel like we are in a persistent technical difficulty. It's like nothing to see here. We'll figure it out later. Keep moving. But that's what we're dealing with. My name's JOANNA Whaley. Welcome to the podcast, wherever you're watching and listening to this show. This week in America, where I live, we had an election. And in this election was between a candidate who was going to fight for the rights of marginalized people in our country and really one who was going to do the complete opposite. For those who have not listened to my show before or watched me live, I'm a transgender woman. I'm also a former evangelical pastor. So I fully speak Republican. I understand the arguments from Christian nationalism because I was fully in the Christian nationalist movement, if you will, at one point in my life. But now as a trans person, living as an out trans person in America, we're scared. It's a reality. Those of us queer people in America are really, really nervous. Gray Street Kate says, "You're getting a follow from me immediately." Thank you, friend. Welcome. Welcome to my show. Welcome to the podcast. As I said, I'm having some technical issues with my studio today, so all of my pre-programmed stuff is off the table today. So you're just going to get my thoughts today. You're just going to get my feelings on this election, on the internal things that I've experienced over this week, and the hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of messages and comments I've gotten in this last week. And people are asking in the chat, why are you scared? Stick around. I'll be happy to tell you. Gray Street Kate, yes, go find the podcast anywhere you get it, called JOANNA Whaley Podcast, anywhere your podcasts are. Let me bring you back a little bit into this election cycle. Those of us who are part of the LGBTQ community, we've been watching this boulder rolling down the mountain for a while, right? And so what we've been hearing is constantly over and over a certain, well, I'll just say it, Donald Trump, who has now been elected the president of the United States again, who has openly and outwardly said, hey, I am going to block gender-affirming care for youth and for adults. He has said that he's going to block it for adults. And all that we have seen, and if you're new to my show, what I do on this show is I come from a theological lens because I'm a former pastor. It's what I do. And all we have seen from people of faith in the last week is that they wish that they think it's a great thing. They think it's awesome. Christians in the world right now, all over our feeds, telling us that they're happy that we're scared. And so, for me, as someone who came from Christian church, a former pastor, I watch, as someone literally said in the comments, a victory for Christianity. Please help me understand how people's rights being taken away, how people in a nation fearing their government is a victory for Christians. Your faith is gross if you believe that. Your Christianity is gross if you believe that. We do not see anything from the church celebrating our lives being in danger as a win. And so, for us in the queer community, Josh says, I'm beyond nervous that my marriage isn't affecting anyone. Exactly, that isn't affecting anyone. Like Josh's marriage, who's on TikTok, said he's afraid that his marriage is going to end. Did you hear that? Like people are worried that their marriages are going to end because the government says we don't want you to be married. We think that your love is invalid. Please tell me how that is okay with your faith. Marriage is ending. So, and this is the reality too. Those of us in the trans community are totally freaked out because, for example, I have healthcare that I need in order to survive, in order to continue living my life. And now my government could potentially block my life-saving healthcare. And that's just not my experience. That's hundreds and hundreds and thousands, tens of thousands of trans people in America. We are telling people, that their lives aren't worth protecting. Hormone replacement therapy has saved my life. And because of an interpretation of the Bible, just like reading Genesis, all of a sudden people have said, oh my gosh, like you shouldn't be able to heal anymore because of that. And so a couple ground rules for those who watch my show live. If you continuously spam the same things over and over again, you get blocked. And also, I don't read hate mail live on the show. So I just want you to know you're spinning your wheels and nobody gives a shit about what you're writing on there. So for those who don't want to understand, here's what I'm going to do over the next few minutes. Today's show could be short. We don't know. I do have technical problems. I'm just going to roll with what I've got today. Mac, I love you too. Thank you so much for your support. Here's where I'm at. When election night happened, I'll be honest with you, it was a really challenging evening for me. It was a really challenging evening for me. And all night long, my phone was blowing up with LGBTQ people who were nervous that they were about to lose their rights. Max says they cried. So here's where, like, election night, honestly, I started going into a spiral. I started going, thank you, Josh says, I love your energy, stay being you. I will. And so I started going in the spiral of, like, how has hate won out again? How has hate won out in our country once again? And I had this enormous empathy and feeling of sharing in the pain of all my cisgender sisters, the cisgender women in our world who are worried about their healthcare being revoked. And now, while trans women's healthcare is different, and we have to fully understand that, but like I understood the intensity of this moment. The intensity of this moment to say, I feel this. Because now my healthcare is in danger as well. The next day I had to go to work. I don't know if anybody else had to go to work and like participate. I had like a group, and like one of the first questions they asked in one of my like educational groups at work was like, hey, how are you doing? And I just like broke down at work. And it was a mess. It was a total mess. And so for me, I couldn't even engage with anything the next day. It was so hard to process these things and then have to be a normal functioning adult in the regular world. And so for a couple days, I didn't answer like any comments, nothing. I just posted a couple thoughts and left them out there. And it's taken me till today to fully get my my legs back under me. And I have kind of like a new lease on life right now. As a queer person in America, as a former pastor who speaks GOP, who speaks Christian, who speaks Christian nationalist. I speak these languages, I know them. But here's the thing. I'm done speaking them. I'm tired of trying to convince people who don't want to listen that I should exist in the world. And I'm no longer engaging with hatred anymore. I have made the decision. You're hearing it, stamp it this day of the recording of this show, Sunday, November 10th, 2024. I am done talking to people who hate me. I'm done with them. But here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I will do. I will absolutely pour all of my energy and effort into those who need to hear my voice, those who want to hear my voice, those who feel marginalized by those in my comment feeds right now, by the assholes that throw hatred and spew it nonstop to people. I'll care for the targets of that hate. That's where I am focusing my energy. A couple weeks ago on my podcast, I talked about how I'm starting to walk into this like peaceful life, starting to walk into this really peaceful existence. And then this bomb drops in the queer community. We've been provoked back into battle as queer people. But you know what? We aren't going to fight it with hate. We aren't going to fight it with trying to convince other people that we should exist in the world. What we're going to do is we are going to fight it by supporting one another. We won't back down, as Josh says. And the way that I'm going to do it is I'm done talking to haters. I will not take any more gigs aimed at convincing people that I should exist in the world. I will not respond to messages that come to me from people who say, help me understand what rights, blah, blah, blah. Shh, I'm asleep. What I want to do is I am going to pour into those who care. Those who care to exist in the world. Those who want to show up, be themselves, love who they love. And religion is trying to tell us how to live our lives. I will speak and I will care for you, the person who's being harmed by religion each and every day. I've said a lot of times on my show, this is a long game. This is a 50, 100-year battle that we may never even see in our lifetime. And that could depress you. It could be very depressing if that's how you want to look at it. The way I look at it is in these battles, we're going to have ups and downs. And this is a huge one. This is a huge downer for us in the queer community. Max says, I will use my money, time, and resources. Yeah, same. I do what I do to advocate for queer people in a very, the income is very low. Let me just say that. It's not how I make my main income. But the fight is worth it. The fight is totally, totally worth it. And so if you're a queer person, I want to hear from you. I would love to hear from you. Chime in wherever you're listening to this. Leave a comment. For me, I'm going into like full blitz mode in the next, however many months. I'm kind of making a plan between now and the end of Pride Month. I'm going on like a full on like campaign of like loving the queer community and supporting them. Not fighting for anything that we need, that we're not going to fight against people who put in awful comments. I'm not going to fight against those ideologies. We're going to fight for each other. Not fighting against, we're fighting for one another. And so it's going to be a long battle. You're going to see a lot of lives from me. You're going to see a lot more content from me. If you're a queer person, hit the follow button, please. Let's stick together in this time. We need one another in this time. And so I'm going to become a professional at ignoring hate. That's what I'm going to become. I'm going to totally become a professional of ignoring hate and supporting love. And so I am here for you if you're a queer person. Go follow. Go listen to my content. Go find my podcast wherever you get your podcast content. Go find. Just look up Joanna Whaley. I'm right there. There's a lot there. I speak into the Christian angles of this. And maybe if you're a queer person listening, you have been hurt by religion, by the awful opinions of people. And so somebody said, do you hate logical discourse? Actually, no, I don't. I'm actually very capable of having discourse with people. The problem is that many people don't want to engage in it. They want to engage in like hate slinging and no listening. People don't listen to one another anymore. So for me, as a queer advocate, I'm not going to engage with people who are bullies. Spiritual terrorism, I will not engage in it. No way. So, and the thing is too, I get really good at noticing what profiles are going to be like what. So like some people want to join my lives and be very selective with that moving forward, because I know, feel free. What's the no? So no engagement with liberals? Sure, feel free. Feel free. We would be so happy if you kept your hate to yourself. We would love that. We would love that. So, not engaging with hate is my new move forward. And I've done that in my life. I've tried to avoid, interacting with haters. I usually ignore them, but I'm getting a lot more vigilant. And to the queer community listening right now, just block. I have never there's a video on my TikTok channel of how many people I blocked in 48 hours, and it's wild. I mean, like hundreds of people I've had to block in the last 24 hours. And in this live recording I'm doing right now, I've blocked like, I'm going to say maybe 20 or 30 people during this live. This is the reality. This is the reality of what we have to deal with. It's such a challenge. Those of us in the queer community, we're trying to tell people that we're nervous, and people are showing us why we should be nervous. Because most of what we see is absolutely hateful and awful. So let's support each other. Queer people, where are you? Let me hear you. Let me see you. I want to know why. I want to know why and how you're going to fight. How are you going to fight for yourself? How are we going to fight for each other? How are we going to do that? You know, as we've been processing through this election, I said I've gotten hundreds of comments and messages, and one thing that's really important to the queer community right now is to realize you are not responsible for educating people. You are not responsible for educating anyone out there. 0% responsible for it. Because Google's free, and if people can turn off Fox News for just a moment, right there is what I mean, like the content is out there, but people don't want to do the work. People just want to be rude. So I'm here for you, queer community. Couple ways that you can get connected with me. One is by following wherever you're watching and listening to this. Follow the show. Follow on your podcasting apps. If you're somebody who wants more direct support from me, like one-on-one text, Zoom calls, things like that, you can go to patreon.com/Joanna Whaley. I do offer really cheap support, and I wish I could do it for free. I just wish I could. I did that at one time. It's really unsustainable. But you can go to patreon.com/Joanna Whaley. Another way, there's lots of different options to go to joannawhaley.com/support. I have some other ways we can get connected there as well. So, I'm going to stick around here for a few minutes, friends. Those who are listening to the show live, I'm going to stick around. For those that are, listening async, I had some technical difficulties today, and we are off the script. We have no script. We have nothing. So I'm going to stick around for a few minutes, answer some questions, take some callers from people who are LGBTQ or who are allies. I don't want to, if you want to come in here and debate with me, I'm just going to hang up on you and block you. I don't want to talk with you. We're done talking. We're done talking with you. We're here to support each other. So, LGBTQ people, allies, I'm here to listen. We're here to have good talk, a good debate with one another. Not a debate. I just want to talk with you and support you. I'm done debating. Done debating my existence. So, friends, where are you at, LGBTQ people? Thank you, Kelly. This is a very colorful live. You're right. This shirt was by accident today, but it's very, very colorful. You got to grab the attention of the scroll. That's how we do it around here. I have a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts on all of this, and my friends in the queer community, you're going to be seeing a lot from me. In the next 6 months, I'm going to be going all out. Yeah. Thank you, friend. Thank you for being an ally. Thank you so much for your work. Can I just say the allies in my life in the last, my allies in the last couple of days have been such a huge deal for me. Such a massive support for me. I can't even describe what they've meant to me in the last couple of days. I just totally, I don't know if I would have made it, honestly, without some of my ally support. No, you cannot pray for me. Please don't. Unsolicited prayer. I actually did a whole podcast episode about that. Do not give me unsolicited prayer. I don't want it. Unless I ask you specifically to pray for me, I don't want your prayer. Keep it to yourself. So, didn't ask for your prayers. Don't want them. Friends, See, this is why we just need it. I need to put on my my blocking tools again. I turned them off for a little bit because it was kind of blocking a lot of folks here. But it was keeping some of the people that wanted to have real conversations with me. Yeah, so I am here just to be a support. I don't give a damn about, you know, about all the haters out there. I just want to hear from queer people. And I wish that TikTok, honestly, I wish that many of the social media apps were a lot safer for queer people. They're not. I mean, you can look at these comment feeds and see why they're so unsafe for people. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Just the amount of hatred we have to deal with in the queer community. If you're LGBTQ, you're an ally. I want to hear about your thoughts on this election. I do not want to hear from Trumpers. I do not want to hear from haters because I'm done talking to you. I'm just done. I've talked to you for years and you don't care. So we're done. I'm done with you and your ideology. So people think it's a narrow way of thinking. No, it's not. I've tried to be as nice and as thoughtful as I can be over the last couple of years, and this is the result. What we see right now is the results. People instantly get angry at queer people, at trans women specifically, just for having a voice. Like, the second we even open our mouth, it's like, I could say something, like if a white guy was saying this, I could say something, and then you would listen to it like, oh, cool. But because I'm a trans woman, you hate me. You hate what I have to say. Simply because I laid down my male privilege. That is playing into this broken system in the world. So, I thought I blocked you. You need to be gone, friend. I was on a podcast recently. I had a debate with a conservative pastor, and that was like a good conversation, actually, believe it or not. We had a good conversation, and part of it was, hey, because, oh, sure, I'll block you. Absolutely, you're welcome. I'm so happy to do that favor for you. Hi, friend. Holly, it's nice to see you. Now you can do the work. I'll let you do the work. You can block me. I would love if you block me. Please do us all a favor and just like stop talking to liberals. It would be so great if conservative people just stopped talking to us. We would love it. Anyways, I was talking to a conservative pastor one day, and I was on his podcast, and we talked about like the words that come out of my mouth as a trans woman. I can say the exact same thing as a male pastor, and then all of a sudden, just because I say it, if I start using religious language, people automatically just discredit anything I say because of my gender, because I am a trans woman. And so it's such a hard, like, it's a weird world to live in, to have that in your, with what you deal with. So anyways, as I kind of bring this live to a wrap here in the next few moments, I just want you to hear this to all the LGBTQ people out there who might be listening, who want to be, who want to have, support in this time. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen. I'm here to support you. If you're somebody who disagrees with my existence in the world, I am not here for you. I am not your ideological babysitter. I am not someone who is your teacher. I am not here for you. I am here for the queer community and the allies who want to navigate this time and understand, how does the religious